Morning. It's right now about 10:43 a.m. July 10th, Yud Thomas, 2025. Tashim Pei Hey. Gotta give a shiur on the Daily Companion. Chaim Daily Companion. When shall be yots nechal yachen kranish kenny yom chayim nish mapir the shal nosh shani. Lashna had a chil so zot mit dabei fil yishach the chosh kenny klaiso. Geef me chosh kenny so mit deze so got spachel so mit dabei the shek khanu vom khleikes kas kaiva. Neues the one upon his pon the tonnes khadiva also. The ken shlei dav ken dav tzorach in yonik gufe. And ashi from my situation by so pretty good Daled Thomas. Daled Thomas. Daled. Back 10 days. Sign. As well. Daled. Handle with care. This segment of Chaim reflects on the attitude of a certain type of an individual. A sincerely observant person who acts as if he has either missed a very important piece of information or he has forgotten that it exists. Now, it's very hard to judge this thing because we have to remember the clause, and you never know what a person's goal in life is. So you never know if he's skipping, if it happens to be like, let's say, Chil Shabbos. You know a person is riding on Shabbos, or he's driving on Shabbos, right? And you want to tell him, he plans, maybe he's about Kaira, and he plans using his car for certain shuls to drive, and people don't know about it, some people do know about it. And basically, if he's a Bakayr in an Orthodox shul, basically they're using him to having him Mechal Shabbos to be their Bakayr, which is Asr. So that's something obviously that's Asr in the Alter, or the guy's a Tzolah member. And let's see, he has a Rehetaf in his Rav, he is a top of Tzolah member, he's a dispatcher on Shabbos. And he has to always be with his car because he always has to go. So he could drive around with his car on Shabbos because he might need it to close a call. Or he sets up his place. Usually Atzolah has it at most Atzolah places, at towns or Atzolah, they set up, the guy has a car set up by his shul and he has a car set up by his house. So he gets a call on Shabbos, he goes on call on Shabbos. But some people, they're top-notch Atzolah, they're a doctor or a specialist, and they need to be always on call, and they can encode during, let's say, COVID. So certain Atzolah members have to drive their car to show shul on Shabbos, because they never know what they're going to need. They might have to be on a 24/6, 24/7, full alert. It's dangerous like crazy. So there you have to be down in Kafschus, and if you're not a Tzolom member, you don't know the halachas, you don't know who his Rav is, and who his heter is. Let's see, he's a doctor and he needs to go to a call on Shabbos. Just take care of emergency, labor on Shabbos. So there are certain places where you have to be down in Kafschus, but let's say it's a person like. Obviously, he's a kafir in a certain part of the Torah. So the Torah says, and he decides, he finds it always a heter to spill people's blood, to embarrass people, this and that. And, he finds his heter, let's say like the Marshall Lake Scoop finds his heter to always advertise his videos and things like that he says try to save me traffic. Meanwhile, he's spilling a lot of people's blood because a lot of people are losing their insurance is going up and everything. Okay, he's missing an important piece of information. Or he has forgotten that it exists. We're speaking of an observant Jew who frequently transgresses a specific commandment in the Torah. He displays this behavior on a regular basis. Takes videos on a regular basis and causes people's insurance to go up. We're not allowed to relate this information to others because the person may not realize the severity of the transgression involved. As Chaim explains, for example, observant Jews who have permissive attitude towards certain bad character traits, because they consider avoidance of such traits recommended behavior, and fail to realize that many negative traits, such as the desire for revenge, are prohibited by the Torah. Chafetz Chaim tells us not to consider these people Rishon, evil people. Rather, they are good people who are in need of reproof. In other words, if you see a person that purposely he has attitude, let's say he had a very bad accident once in his life, so he has an attitude to take videos always of traffic violations and enforce laws and give it into the township. We're not going to say the guy's a bad person. He's just a person that needs reproof, right? If someone's obviously going after someone, dafka lahachis to mess up a guy's reputation, then it's not because he's missing important information of the law. Is he's doing it because he wants to mess someone up. He's a Russia. The human mind is a complex machine. At times, we may face a serious problem or issue, but our mind does not read it as such and accords it a lower priority than it deserves. This, says the Chafetz Chaim, is often the case of a certain form of negative behavior, where the person simply does not view the matter as a serious sin. In other words, if you see someone that he thinks he's going to walk into a pizza shop and he sees someone with his feet up, so he decides he's going to go tickle it. He thinks it's not a serious sin. And might say it's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah, it is a problem. The guy has a tivus nus. He is told us to tie his nuts, and we have to handle it with care. But such a person can often be helped if we approach him respectfully and graphically portray the seriousness of the matter and the seriousness of his illness. It is quite possible that he will accept our reproof and change for the better. On the other hand, Chafetz Chaim informs us that we should point out this person's negative behavior to our children or students and caution them not to learn from his misguided ways. As we have already stated, this is not Lashon Hara, because our intention is not to denigrate the person. We are merely concerned that others should not emulate his behavior. However, it is absolutely essential to explain to the children why this is not Lashon Hara. In other words, you have to tell children that it's not a good thing to go around tickling people, or to take videos of people in traffic and things to maser. Otherwise, they may erroneously draw the conclusion that Lashon Hara can be spoken in other situations. At times, the Torah allows negative information to be related, but only under very specific conditions. Just as the Torah demands of us not to speak Lashon Hara unnecessarily, so too does it demand that we not mislead those who need to know the information. They must know that Lashon Hara is forbidden, and that only in this particular case it is permitted to relate negative information. Compare Lashon Hara to toxic waste, and the laws of Shmiras Lashon to a protective suit, worn by people who must handle the wastes when a responsibility person knows that he must deal with dangerous substance. He prepares himself properly so that the substance will not cause him or others any harm. In other words, sometimes we learned from last week's parsha was focus. Person goes latar, he ends up coming tame, right? So a person's going to go speak Lashon Hara or fix someone's problem. Fix someone's problem, and eventually he's going to end up with that same problem, because abolatar, he comes to tame, he gets effective. So we have to always wear the Shmiras Lashon as a protective suit, how to then handle it with care, how to handle it, the situation that we shouldn't get affected, and always work on ourselves as well, that we should not get affected with this type of behavior. Because that once a person publicizes certain things about a person, eventually he gets affected too. Especially I learned from Azayid Hashem that a person usually, when he sees a problem in the enemy, because he has the problem himself, and eventually he's going to go speak about them, about that problem, eventually he's going to be doing it himself and doing the Aveira himself, which is a terrible thing to do then. At times we may face a serious problem, but our mind does not read it as such. May today's schus be as learning be a schus that people should have bracha v'atzlacha parnasa b'lidai. And anybody wants to sponsor to the shiur, you send a Zelle number to a Zelle over to 848-238-4432. To Yaakov Yisrael Stern, Yaakov Yisrael Goodman. I happen to be learning my Spanish right now because once I go out in the morning, I can't find parking spaces by where I live, and basically need to move out of the place where I live as well, because the landlord needs me to move out. But meanwhile, I'm learning in the shul somewhere in Lakewood, and today's learning be a schus that everybody should make. Everybody should make $755,891,853. It's a bracha. Everybody should have a mazel to make that much money today itself. Should be zeicha. And if anybody wants to sponsor the shiur, can send an Zelle again to 848-238-4432. I don't know how long I'll be at the address of 501 Princeton Avenue, so I'm not going to say you should send a check there, because I don't know if it will always reach me. And sometimes I have the addresses where I ask people to send me checks don't always get to me, because eventually I don't stay there long as well. So call to Vatzlacha Rabba. Have a great day. Today's Thursday, Parshas Balak. Happens to be a week before my birthday, my 47th birthday. And I just bought a cake to the shul to celebrate the Parsha of my mitzvah Parsha Vayisheres Yaakov. Special Parsha for everybody in Klal Yisrael to know what it means to be part of the Shevis Yaakov when the time comes. Call to the Zagments. Have a great, wonderful week. Have a great, wonderful day and a great, wonderful weekend.